Hello, everybody, and welcome to another live stream here from the radio station. It must be a bank holiday, and I've got a cup of coffee that's just been made here. Yes, and it's that bank holiday time again. It's time for another live show. Just turning on the chat so I can see if anybody is in the chat. There's a couple of people watching, but I can't see any chat or anything at the minute on the screen. That's a bit weird. Because it normally shows up, but hey ho. So yeah, here we are again. Of course, you've got no chat on the side of the screen today because we're not from the normal place where we broadcast Andy Shed live from. So I've not got the normal hardware that we've got. Miguet's here with us. He says, hi Miguet, how are you getting on? Hope all is well there in sunny London. Things have been progressing here at the radio studio since you last saw us. It makes me look fat, this camera does. God, yeah, things have been progressing a bit here since you last saw us. We've added a bit more hardware to things, and we're basically now up and running, ready to go. We are ready more or less to go on air. It's just a case of pushing the button, paying some bills for the rights for the music to people like PRS and PPL, and when that's done, we will be ready to go. But there are some questions that need answering before we press the buttons and put it to air. Firstly, we need to answer the question: can we really afford to do it? Have we got enough money per month to keep it going once it is going? Because once it is going, it's got to keep going. Have we got enough staff to keep it manned, to keep doing it? Have we got enough people making shows and things like that? And is there demand? Are there people out there wanting to listen to it? All questions that need an answer. And I'm not sure I know the answers to all of those questions yet, definitively. I've got a pretty good idea, but I'm not sure I actually fully know the answers. So that's kind of why we're holding off going on air. The biggest reason why we're holding off is a lack of people, lack of bodies, lack of interest in getting involved. There has been scant interest, and I think it's because of the part of the world we're in here. Just nobody wants to do anything here. Nobody, absolutely nobody. I think it's the bit of the world we're in, and I'm still not totally sold on it. I'm still thinking we might have to up sticks and move to somewhere like Sheffield to make it work. Because although there is no local radio serving this area that we want to serve, mainly to speak of, and although there is nobody else doing what we're going to be doing here, we just seem to be suffering from an extreme apathy from the public at large. So what can you say? But we are ready to go. So yeah, we're ready to roll when the rest of the world is ready for us to roll, kind of thing. But it's done. It's built now. So if we did have to move it to another part of the country or something, or even if we decided not to go ahead and had to sell it, It's basically a complete radio station ready to go. It's an online radio station ready to go with all the professional equipment and that in it. But we're hoping it doesn't come to that. We're hoping we'll be able to get it to air. So yeah, so we've added a few bits and pieces in since last time you were here, since last time you came and had a look. We've added a telephone hybrid in, which I don't think was here last time you came and saw it. A telephone hybrid is over here actually. It's this thing here. This is the hybrid unit. When you want to put a caller on air, we have a phone there, you see. A good old traditional 700 series push button phone. You can just make ordinary phone calls on that and receive them on that. You've got an ordinary dial tone on there. But if you want to put your caller on air, you leave that phone off the hook a minute and push that button in there, and that will light up. It's not actually plugged in at the minute, this, but that would light up if you want to put your caller on air. Once that button's lit up, imagine that's lit up, you can hang this up and you won't lose your caller. They are then on this system here, and you put them on air on the radio station simply by pushing up this green fader here, and that then puts them on air. It's as simple as that. And when you've finished, you press that button again to release the call. That drops the call then, and that is like you're hanging up on them. Or if you've still got that lit, you can then, when they're off air, when you're playing a song or something, that's still lit. If the caller's still on the line, you pick your phone up again, and you go, "Hello, yeah, that was a great interview. Thanks very much. Speak to you soon. Bye." And put the phone down again. So that is how that works. So that is the hybrid. I'm not sure if that was there last time you were with us or not. Also, you notice we've got a shelf now above the mixer. Now, we had to get this shelf for a very good reason, which I will attempt to show you. The shelf is there, you see, and you can see from here that the monitor mounts, which are that black thing up the middle there, that black pole up the middle, are clamped to this shelf. And we needed the shelf to clamp that to it, because if we clamped that to the desk, it wouldn't have been high enough. If we clamped that to this desk, it wouldn't have been high enough to clear the top of this mixer. So we had to raise it up a bit, and we did it by making these brackets. Me and my friend Alan in Sheffield made these two brackets out of some bits of steel, and then we just got basically a shelf, bit of wood for a shelf out of one of the DIY superstores, and stuck that on there. And now we've got the monitor stand clamped to the back of the shelf, and also this microphone arm as well. These arms are really, really good. I really like these microphone arms, and they were not expensive. They were, I think, with the potion that they're about a tenner each. And I think we've got 3 or 4 of them. We've got 3 of them set up at the minute. Could do with a 4th. There's one over there, you see, as well. We've got a little microphone on the desk there that does other things. And one there, and that is going to be the co-presenter's mic over there. So how the room will work, how it will be laid out, is, excuse all the junk and that's in here at the minute. You come through the door. If you are a guest, you will sit over here somewhere on that microphone, or on another one that's going to be there, which will actually be this mic on one of these stands over there. And a co-presenter, if we've got a co-presenter sat here, a co-presenter will be over there on that microphone and sitting there somewhere, and we'll be able to see all these screens and that. One thing I've not decided is if we're going to put this rack unit over here. which we may do. We may put that there, because when you're over there as a guest, you're kind of looking at the back of that rack. So we might switch sides of that yet. What do you all think? I'm looking for opinions on layout and stuff here. The main computer that is that up there that runs all the playout software, the actual box for it is on the floor down there. The black box at the side of it, that is the power supply for the mixer. It's probably the most expensive power supply you will ever see in your life. To buy one of those second-hand, those little black boxes, and they do fail, to buy one second-hand, you're looking well in excess of £100, probably even in excess of £200, because they are a smooth power supply. It doesn't generate any noise or anything, in theory. And that just powers the mixer. Then we've got lots of other things. If you look under the desk, it's real spaghetti at the minute. There's a load of plugs there. There's a load more behind there. There's some more down here that aren't plugged in. What I hadn't appreciated when I started this was absolutely how many blooming sockets and things you need. It's phenomenal, the number of sockets that you need is just amazing. It's incredible. Lots is the simple answer to it. You do need lots. What are folks saying in the chat? Oh, Fat Hobbit's here, and also so is Christopher. Morning, Christopher. Morning. I think it's morning there now. Yeah. It might be. Is it more of a reasonable time for you now today than we're normally on? Yeah. So, in fact, it might even be the afternoon. I'm not sure. I can't work it out. So yeah, it's all coming together. It's all sort of getting there, but it's very, very complicated. Oh, it's 12 a.m. In Australia, says Christopher. So 12 a.m. at night. So yeah, midnight. Blimey. So yeah. But the problem we've got here at the minute is the room has got cluttered up with rather a lot of what we'll call side projects, shall we? Things that aren't directly related to the radio station, but are other things, including videotape machines. If you've got something you want transferring from an old videotape that you've found in the bottom of the wardrobe, then I may well have a machine that will play that old videotape that you found in the bottom of the wardrobe. Yeah, they're just growing like topsy, the VT machines. 3 more have arrived since you were last here. I've shown all the U-matic video machines that are lurking around before, but we've now got some that play these things. This is a digital Betacam tape. It is quite a big tape. By comparison, this is a U-matic. This says it's 20. Which it could be, actually. this is a giant U-matic tape. So that one's a U-matic. That one. I'm not convinced that's a big one. Oh yeah, it is. It is. That's a big U-matic, yeah. And this one that I'm opening now is a Digibeta. So you thought U-matic tapes were massive. I'll put you down there so you can see it a bit better. You thought U-matic tapes were big. This is a Digibeta tape. So the Digibeta is bigger. The U-matic has 60 minutes of recording on it. The Digibeta 124, I believe you can get on Digibeta. So yeah, that's that. So yeah, we've got all kinds of strange videotapes and stuff, which I'll now try and put back in the relevant cases. So yeah, so this is a Digibeta. Really heavy taper, not very thick, you'll notice, but still quite large. And that's because I think these are 1/2 inch tape in these, and U-matic tape is 3/4 inch tape. These run at a high speed. And are digital format. Digibeta is the digital version of a very popular broadcast format called Betacam SP. And yes, if you think you've heard the name Beta before, it is related to Betamax. If you were around in the late 70s or in the 80s, and you will have had a video recorder that may have been a Betamax. Betacam is related to Betamax. It's a development of Betamax, because although VHS won the home video format wars, actually the picture and sound quality on Betamax was superior, and it got taken forward by Sony and one or two others and became Betacam. Betacam then became Betacam SP, and then Betacam SP, which was the last analog format, which TV stations in the 80s used a heck of a lot, then became digital Betacam, which was the first digital format, and mega expensive in the day as well. Mega expensive. It's a recurring thing about videotape. Every time they bring out a different type of videotape, they seem to find a way of making it much more expensive than it had previously been. Christopher's here. He says he got his AEP 706 clone phone today. It says it's late for a 706, made in 1971. That's probably because it's a clone, Christopher. They made 706 clones a lot longer than they made 706s for the GPO, mainly because they were tight and they were using the bits up that they'd got. So if you've got bits to make 706s, why would you bother making 746s if you've got thousands of bits to make 706s? And I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't look inside that 706 clone and found parts inside it, like the capacitors and things, that have probably got GPO markings on them because they just used up the old stock. It's just a thing they did. So yeah, so we've got loads of stuff here that really shouldn't be here, like the old tapes and stuff, and the machine. So Digibeta, I was telling you about, over here we have 3 digital beta machines. Now this is typical of what happens. I found the bottom 2 of those Digibeta machines. They were listed on eBay. They were quite cheap. Yes, they were a fair distance away from me, but they were pretty cheap. So I thought, right, I'll put a bid in. Much to my surprise, I won them. And when I got there, the guy gave them to me. They were stacked up in his garage. He gave them to me, and he said, "Oh, I've got a third one here that doesn't work that you can have for free." So rather than coming back with 2 Digibeta machines, I came back with 3, and we think it's a power supply fault on the top one. I have taken the power supply out of it. It was tricky to take out. It wasn't tricky to take out because it's difficult to do. It was tricky to take out because I didn't know how to do it, because I'd never taken one out of one of those before. So I took out a lot of screws I think that I probably didn't really need to take out in my attempt to get the power supply out of it. So I've taken the power supply out, the power supply out. That is now going away to be looked at and hopefully repaired, and then hopefully we'll have 3 that work. But I am after some recorded Digibeta tapes. If anybody's got any Digibeta tapes with anything on them that they don't want, send them my way, because those 3 machines are Digibeta players, not recorders, so they can't record, they can only play. So I want some pre-recorded tapes just to try them and make sure everything works on them. Right, what's everybody up to in the chat? Christopher says that phone he's got, that AEP 706, said he had to replace the bell coils because the ones in the phone were completely dead. Oh, that's interesting. They don't normally fail. Have you actually tested the coils you've taken out there, Christopher? Have you put a multimeter on them and see if you've got continuity through the coils? Because they don't normally fail, bell coils. I'd be surprised. And I'd certainly be surprised if they both failed. You might be able to take one coil off and just replace one coil, because there's 2 on there, isn't there? You might be able to just put 1 on. Dominic's here, says hi all, tad late. Hi Dominic. He says just popping in before I do some spring cleaning. If you're into doing spring cleaning, Dominic, there's some here you can do. Talking of spring cleaning, I've got something to show you in a minute. Dominic says the Digibetas are very nice. Yes, they're very heavy as well, Dominic. They are unbelievably heavy. What is it about broadcast video machines that they are so heavy? You can see one of the outside broadcast units had to have massive trucks to cart all the equipment around in, because the smallest, simplest machines are phenomenally heavy. Miguel says, AEP Automatic Electric Portugal. They didn't know they made 706s. The other 706 were made by Plessey in Portugal. Is the innards like a 706? Chris says the coil in his phone is a single coil. Oh, so the innards are not like a 706 then. Yeah. Talking of spring cleaning, walk this way. Doop-a-doo-doo. I've got a new vacuum cleaner. It wouldn't normally be interesting were it not for the fact it's this. This is a approximately 1950s built Hoover 119 vacuum cleaner, and it is unbelievably good. This carpet in here was absolutely ditched. It had mud trampled across it and all sorts. And this Hoover, a genuine Hoover, actually saved the day and sucked up all the rubbish off the carpet. It is amazingly good. In fact, it's so amazingly good, I bought another one to use at home. So I've got two of them now. Yeah, it's so old that it's got a by appointment to the royal family on it. And if I move it and bring it over here, well, you can see it a bit better. The by appointment thing on it if you can read it, says by appointment to the late King George VI, manufacturers of electric suction sweepers. So that was before the Queen took the throne, before Queen Elizabeth II took the throne. This was made. And yeah, as I say, it's a Hoover Junior 119. I believe it's the first Hoover Junior, but I could be wrong about that. But I think it's the first one. So yeah, and still working. And the other one I bought is still working. Not done anything to either of them, and both still going strong. They are absolutely amazing machines. I'm really, really pleased with these Hoovers. So yeah, if you want a decent vacuum cleaner, and not particularly heavy either, well, you can see by the way I've just picked that up, but if you want a decent vacuum cleaner, you can do a lot worse than get one of those. It cost me about 20 quid. Also arrived here since you last looked. Last time we had a little musical rendition on the pianola that I've got there, but since last time this has arrived. Now, as you'll see, this is on its side. It's on its side for a reason. It's too rotten to stand on its feet. But what this actually is a street barrel piano. Not a barrel organ, it's a barrel piano. You can see the strings in it, the old piano strings, and inside there is a big barrel with pins in, just like a music box. And you wind a handle that goes on the front there. Here is the handle. We took it off. Basically, we had to take it off to get it through the door. But this is in need of some restoration. I've already got one of these. This one is one I've recently acquired, though. So this is the second one. And this one is a bit of a lemon. You know, it's got a lot of rot in it, this one, as you can see. Totally rotten. So it needs a lot of work doing to it, this. So if anybody's a brave woodworker and fancies tackling this, get in touch with us, andyshed.coldpress.net, and click on the contact us thing. So yeah, that's one thing that we've got. Another thing that I don't know if you've seen before or not, we've got the Leatherworkers sewing machine. That's here as well, for want of somewhere to put it. As I said, there's a lot of things got in here because there's space here that shouldn't really be here. But yeah, the Leatherworkers sewing machine is here, and that is in working order as well now. Plus, there's a load of telephones in storage here. People say to me, what happens to the telephones that appear on Andy's Shed Live? Well, there's some of them on display in the loft space at home when you see a show from the loft, but others end up in these plastic crates and are stored here. So there's quite a few stored there, as you can see. And we have an old GEC radio as well that's missing one of its knobs. Now, somebody's going to restore this radio for me, but we want one of these knobs to go on that side. So if anybody's got any idea where we can get a knob for that, please let us know. I have considered casting one out of resin. Being as I've got this one, I might take this one off and try and make a mould of it to put on there. What do you think? Might have a go at that. But it's an interesting old thing, as you can see from some of the stations and that listed on the dial. Things like Luxembourg and Hamburg and Hilversum, Lyons, London, North Third, Scottish, Northern Ireland, Light Programme, Leningrad, I can see on there as well. Crikey. So that's a GEC radio. I've got one or two other old radios kicking around as well. Yeah, not sure where the other one. Oh, the one is over there. There's one up there, look, as well, hiding. So yeah, we've got a few, but hopefully we're going to get those done sooner rather than later, and get those working again. Back to video machines, and as I said, we've got some U-matic machines here. There's 4 there. These are recorders as well as players. 4 there and 2 more there just for good measure. And in the little suitcase thing on the top there, there's a reel-to-reel tape machine in there that I was given. Spare monitors upside down to get them in the crate. They're what we're going to use for the radio studio. This computer desk here with a computer on it, this is a terminal for the radio station system. The main computer under the desk excuse me, the main computer under the desk that runs that screen there and the playout system is actually networked to this machine here. So when somebody's sat there making a radio show live, if somebody else wants to prepare their show, they can get on here and use this computer to prepare their show when it's set up. Which it pretty much is actually, because the keyboard and that, you see, is here for it. So, yeah, that's the terminal. What we call the voice tracking computer. He says, nice old radio. He says it has VHF, so not too old. Knob could be 3D printers, as I know someone who did make a knob for his radio. Yeah, I've wondered about 3D printing it. Yeah, I did wonder about 3D printing it. The thing is, the 3D printer I've got is not really high enough definition. Mine is one that uses plastic filament, and it does sort of print in layers a little bit. So it wouldn't print a perfect knob, I don't think. It wouldn't have the definition to do it. But as I've got one of them, that's why I'm wondering about casting one out of resin. Dominic says, I don't think I've seen any Charles ciphers yet on anything. Not out in the wild, Dominic. I have seen the Charles cipher, but I've not seen it out in the wild on a post box or anything yet, I don't think. Dominic also says he wonders if current royal warrants are to the late Queen at the moment. I was wondering this, and I asked somebody, and apparently if you hold a royal warrant, if you are by appointment for whatever, and the member of the royal family who you are by appointment to passes away, because you can be appointment to, there used to be some that were by appointment to the Queen Mother. You don't have to be by appointment to the Queen or to the King now. But if the person you hold the warrant for passes away, you have to, I think, reapply for your warrant. So all the people who were by appointment to the royal household, to the Queen, for supplying things like vacuum cleaners and that, would have to now reapply to Charles to get his say-so to have their vacuum cleaners or whatever. So, yeah. Having a royal warrant is not as simple as it would first seem. Apparently. So, yeah, quite complex getting yourself a royal warrant, it would seem. But no, I've not seen anything. I've not seen any coins or anything yet. All the coins at the minute in the UK, of course, have the Queen on. If you're not in the UK, here is a UK coin with the Queen on. Bet the camera will not focus on that. But yeah, there she is. That is Elizabeth, who died last year. Yeah, I've not seen any Charles coins in that yet. But I know with coins, they have to stockpile so many before they release them. They don't just make a few and then send them out. They stockpile a certain number before they release them. So be interesting to see what happens. But I remember before they changed the sizes of the coins, before they changed the sizes of the 10p's and the 5p's, and we were still using some old pre-decimal shillings as 10p's and 5p's in the UK, there were still some of those kicking around that were pre-Elizabeth II that got the old King's head on them. Certainly remember those from the 70s and early 80s that they were still in circulation. So yeah, I think Queen Elizabeth II's head will be on coins in circulation for a very long time to come, unless they go and decide to change them all again, which they seem to do with worrying regularity these days in this country. In America, they never change their coins. You can find things like dimes in America that are 100 years old plus that are still in circulation. But here we keep changing them, so, and now they're all made out of steel, so they won't last either. British coins are not very well made these days. Ask anybody with a metal detector, they'll tell you. If you go metal detecting on a beach, which I do occasionally, now when you find a coin, it's got a rusty hole through the middle of it because it's been in the salt water. You know, like a modern 5p like that wouldn't last 12 months on the beach before it was nothing. So eventually you're not really going to find much on beaches and that, nothing old anyway, because it will the coins will rust away so quickly. So yeah, not good if you're a metal detectorist. We will at some point go to the seaside and get the old metal detector out and get it on the beach, and we'll have a go, and we'll might even try doing it live if we can, if the technology allows, and see what we find. Because you find bits and pieces. The most interesting thing I found on the beach was a ring pull. And I know it sounds like a joke, but it's not, because the ring pull I found, and it's only maybe 3-4 years since I found it, the ring pull that I found was actually the type of ring pull that doesn't stay attached to the can. Now, how old must that be? How long must that ring pull have been on that beach? Because it was the sort that completely comes off the can. And I've not seen one of them for years and years and years and years and years. Because now you pull the ring pull and it sort of goes into the can, doesn't it? When you lift the ring bit up, the other bit goes into the can. Well, this was a ring pull that came off the can, and I've not seen one for years and years, but I found one on the beach. So actually, people with metal detectors that joke about finding ring pulls, that actually to me was a ring pull worth finding because it was historic. So yeah, I quite like that one. So yeah, that is all of what is happening here at the moment. Has anything else come in? There is another piano on the way, another pianola on the way. It's not arrived yet, but it is coming apparently. So yeah, that'll be interesting when it gets here. But we've just got lots and lots of pianola rolls at the minute. Some of them need some restoration on them. I've got one here, for instance. Because one of the problems with pianola rolls is people tend to put elastic bands around them. And elastic bands can go a bit funny. I mean, that one's not, but they can go hard or they can go gooey and stick to the roll. So I always take the elastic bands off. But when you get the roll, that is how they are punched. If I hold that up to the light, you can see how that's punched there. And sometimes, unfortunately, they are torn. What I want is a way of restoring the paper and then repunching the holes on the restored bit. Because it's a bit like the paper they're printed on. It's a bit like that shiny toilet paper you used to get, you know, when you were at school. You had that shiny toilet paper. Yeah, it's a bit like that. It's a kind of cross between that and brown paper. Some are printed on better stuff than others. But some of them do need some restoration, some of these rolls. And yeah. So we want to restore them for posterity. I mean, the label on this one is brilliant. Piano style, it says on it. Brooklyn, New York. Hand played 46830. So that means it was played by hand to be recorded onto this on a special machine. And this one sounds a bit religious because it's called Lord, How Manifold Are Thy Works. Sacred Melody Transcription by J.J. Freeman. That's what it says on there. Cool. So yes, that is what we've got basically at the moment. But one of the problems I've got is the boxers for these rolls are getting a bit past their best, shall we say. So I could do with doing something to the boxer. So I need somebody who can restore paper and cardboard. And I know there are people who do it. There are conservators who do it, who restore paper and cardboard. So I would love to talk to one of them and find out what we need to do. It's a girl who appears on the Repair Shop who does it, isn't there? Right, so yeah, that's about it. That's about all I can really tell you at the moment for what we've got going forward. As I say, the radio station is here and it is basically operational. The desk is here and lights up and does everything, and we've got a thing that encodes it all now to the internet, and we'll send it out to the internet. So it's all basically ready to go. Like I say, it's just a matter of sitting and waiting for the relevant moment where we decide, right, we're going to go for it now. Like I say, what we're waiting for is to make sure that when we start, we can keep going. To make sure that we've got the finances in place and we've got the staffing in place to keep it going. The problem is finding enough quality content for shows, because while you can go on websites out there and get what they call syndicated radio shows, where people say, I make a radio show, I make a blues show every Wednesday, or I make a soul show, or I make a country show, or I make a rock show, and that. A, the people need to make it consistently, which they don't always, and B, it needs to be of transmittable quality, and quite frankly, very often they're not that good. So finding good, reliable, consistent content is very difficult, and a lot of the people making these shows are doing it at home with a computer and a microphone, and that's not really the way to do it. You know, and the quality of the show is not there. It's just basically back-to-back music tracks that they, if you're lucky, they speak in between the tracks, but the levels aren't right and they don't fade them out right and stuff because they've not got the equipment to do it. I mean, when you see the equipment that we've got here to do it, and when we've got a big mixer like this, and then we've got all these CD players, and then to get it all level, we've got this compressor at the top of here, and then at the bottom of here, there's a microphone compressor limiter thing as well. And when you see all the kit that we've got to do it, you realise that it's just impossible to do at home. Basically, you just can't do it just with a computer and a microphone. Well, you can do it, but it will never sound as professional as if you'd done it in a fully fitted radio studio, which is why we kind of built this. So what we would like is people who want to make shows to come in and actually learn here. We'll teach you the proper way to do it. And you can go from our little room here and you could walk into any of the big FM stations. You could walk into like Radio 1 or Radio 2 at the BBC and you'd know what to do, because the equipment is basically does the same thing. I mean, they've got more modern versions of the same stuff that we've got here, but you know what buttons to press and what faders to open and how it all works, which you wouldn't necessarily if you were just making a radio show using a computer at home. So yeah, so if you want to come and make a radio show here, get in touch with us. Get on our website, andyshed.coldpress.net, and click on the contact us thingy and send us a message and I'll get back to you. And after being on there for 51 minutes, my coffee is actually still warm. It's amazing. So yeah, that is basically what we've got here and how it's all going. So it is pretty much ready to go. We have been doing some sort of test broadcasts and things that have gone fairly well, actually, fairly without incident. But what we need to do now is really decide if we are going to continue operating out of here, if we're going to move somewhere else. Because really, to be honest, we could do with a bigger space or an additional space, because, like I say, this is filling up with stuff that really shouldn't be here. So we need to have a little look at that. But it is all getting there gradually. What are people up to in the chat? Oh, Dominic's off. He says, bye all. Have a good rest of the bank holiday. Thanks, Dominic. We will try to. Yeah, and I think I'd better be off as well. It's been very nice to see everybody again for this special bank holiday stream here from the studio. I know people wanted to know how we're getting on. There are going to be some more recorded episodes of How to Start a Radio Station coming up very, very soon. But for me, for now, have a fantastic week ahead, and we will see you next Sunday with another Andy Shed Live next Sunday evening. So stick around for that. If you've not done so already, remember to do the like and the subscribe thing that everybody tells you to do on YouTube, so I'm not going to go through it. You know the drill by now. And remember, you can also support us on Patreon. It's patreon.com/Andy's Shed. But for me, for now, have a fantastic rest of your bank holiday Monday, or Tuesday, or Wednesday, or wherever you went, or whenever you're watching this in the future. And I will see you all very soon. So thanks for watching, everybody. And yeah, we'll catch you next time. Bye for now.